Welcome to this month's Cor-Kinetic newsletter, and what we're going to talk about today is single arm training, and we're going to give you a little bit of the theory behind it and then look a little bit more at some practical examples. So, one of the major reasons that single arm training is so important is simply because of rotation. Now, rotation is something we utilise in human function all the time. If we look at sport, we're always using the all-powerful transverse plane. If we hit a golf swing, then it's going to be based around the transverse plane. If we look at the human function of gait, again, it's based around rotation. And if we look at even throwing a ball, it's based around using the transverse plane. So single arm training instantly just gives us some transverse plane motion. And what we're going to look at in 1 second is a fly progression. And a fly is a really, really cool exercise, but we're going to take it and we're going to make it more three-dimensional. We're also going to add in a single arm and make it a very, very rotative exercise. So, thank you for watching. Keep tuned for the exercise progression. So, what we're going to do is first start off just by looking at a normal single arm fly. And what we're going to allow the body to do is just add in some rotation as well. A lot of the time what we tend to do is just fix the body and allow the arm to move. But this time what we're going to do here is simply also allow the body to rotate as well. Just allowing that spine to add in some rotation. That would be our first tweak to the fly exercise using a single arm. Now the second tweak gets really cool. What we're now looking at is adding in some three-dimensional movement. Now if we look at the fly movement, and classically it looks around the pectoral muscle, simply when we look at the pectoral muscle we see a clavicular attachment, we see some on the sternum, we see some on the ribs. So that kind of makes it a very triplane muscle, the pectoral. So how can we help harness the power of the pectoral muscle? Again, along with the rotational aspect, we can simply add in 3 planes with a single arm. So now, we can go back in the sagittal plane. We can create more transverse motion. Now we can create some frontal plane motion. Again, we can look at that. Simply go with the single arm, back into the sagittal plane, then into the transverse plane, and then adding in some more frontal plane motion. So we change the camera angle a bit, because now we're going to get even more dynamic. And we're going to start to involve the legs and the pelvis and make this exercise not just three-dimensional, not just single arm and rotational, but also integrated into the rest of the body. And if we start to understand the universal function of gait, we can start to see that this will add a rotation left while the pelvis is adding a rotation right. So let's kick it off. So we can go driving in the sagittal plane, we can go driving in the transverse plane, and then driving much more in the frontal plane. And that instantly gives me movement of both the upper and lower bodies and loads of rotation. And not just that, but the counter rotation of the lower body against the upper body. Now that's really, really cool. Also, what we're now going to do is add in a stability element. How can we take the progression even further? Now I can go to a single leg and I have to create that mobile stability of my hip as my upper body drives. So I can go into the sagittal plane again. I can go into the transverse plane, and I can go driving down, give myself some more frontal and transverse plane movement, all with the stability component. Now what's really cool about that as well, is when I go up high, I'm going to create more type 1 motion of the spine, which is lateral flexion and rotation the opposite way. When I go here, I'm going to create much purer transverse plane motion. When I go low, I'm going to create what's called type 2 motion, which is rotation of the spine and lateral of the flexion of the spine in the same direction. So just adding in this progression is going to give you so many aspects of human function. Hope you've enjoyed it. Catch us next month.